Welcome back, Husker fans, to another episode of Generation Red, the kettle corn of Husker fan podcast, where we try to be sweet, but at times we get salty. I am your host, Ken,
And I am your other host, Scott.
and we're joined by a couple of co-hosts with us tonight. Justin Adams from the Nebraska at the Voice of College Football on YouTube. You can follow him at the _H-Town Husker on Twitter. And of course, Coach BA, the infamous Coach BA from the BA Coaches Show. You can follow him at the BA Coaches Show on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So, guys, welcome in tonight. This is going to be a fun one. We're going to preview the college football playoff, talk about some of the matchups. We're also going to talk about the seedings. And as we kind of get into this, just as everybody knows, you can follow us, our show, at Gen Red Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, or subscribe to Generation Red on your favorite app to be able to listen to the audio version of this show. Please do us a big favor. If you're watching us live or if you're catching us on demand after this show uploads, please help us out by leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Also, feel free to join the conversation tonight with us live by interacting in the live chat or on demand, leaving a comment down below this video. We really appreciate it. Generation Red merchandise is also finally available. Go to our website at genredpod.com, click on the link at the very top of the page. It's in a gray bar, and take you right to our merch page. And also you can email us at genredpod@gmail.com. We are proud to be partners with Underdog Fantasy Sports, and they are offering up to $1,000 free cash and a free pick to our listeners. To take advantage of this exclusive deal, just download their app, sign up, and deposit any amount using our code GENRED. That's GENRED, all one word. Underdog, it's the easiest way to play fantasy sports, so don't miss out on this opportunity to claim up to $1,000 in free cash and one free pick. Just sign up, deposit any amount, and use our code GENRED to get started. There we go. We got all of the housekeeping out of the way, guys. It's good to see you. We lost Justin. Justin left us. Oh, nope. Justin is back.
I'm sorry. For some reason, Chrome keeps disconnecting my camera and it puts some weird profile picture up. So I just switched over to Firefox and it's working. So
Sweet.
Okay. Well, your audio's a little quiet. I'm not sure.
Is that any better?
Sort of.
A little bit.
Sort of. Yeah, we can work with it. We can work with it. It could be the audio noise leveler or whatever that it does. And
If you leave the
Doesn't
studio and
stream
come
out.
back in, I wonder if it'll reset. We've been having a lot of.
Bro, this happens to me a lot.
It's been wonky, and the new update to StreamYard can be a little bit of a challenge at times too.
Right.
Yes, thank you, Justin. Go Big Red for sure. Tonight, just gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk about the college football playoff because we have a bowl game we could talk about. We're gonna do that next Monday at 7:30 right here on this YouTube channel. These guys will be back with us to talk about the bowl game because that's really cool. We actually have one to preview. I'm just going to savor that. I don't care about 6-6. I don't care about how the season ended. I love the idea that these kids are getting more practices. I love the idea that recruiting, I think, has been affected positively in many ways by the fact that Nebraska is going to a bowl game. Justin, you just got done with the live stream, and I hate to make you review any information, but just maybe take a couple of minutes to just drop the nuggets that you have seen come from the transfer portal and all that kind of stuff over the last couple of days.
Yeah, so really just kind of diving into, if I can pull my notes back up here that I had from earlier. But, some of the main ones, I was looking at Isaiah World. First off, Dante Dowdle, of course, leaving last night. We saw that happen. And so kind of unexpected in terms of just how he was supposed to be utilized or that he was going to be part of this offense moving forward. And then a lot of people saw Kawan Lacey. I tweeted him potential name. He had went in the portal early yesterday. Went over to Ole Miss, but Ole Miss, similar to Williams Winery with us, Ole Miss had recruited him last year. As soon as he decommitted from Nebraska, he was projected to go to Ole Miss before he ultimately ended at Missouri. But Nazea Hunter is a guy that I'm really looking at. Nebraska should be in his top 2. He's got a visit to Kansas State coming up as well. So Nebraska's looking pretty good in a position to land him. I'm still trying to look at the rest of my notes here. Isaiah World, though, the offensive tackle, Nebraska is one of his top 3 with Texas A&M and Oregon. He's currently visiting Oregon, and a couple other guys in the mix that are on campus today. But Isaiah Hunter, Eric Fields is another one that's going to be the wide receiver as well. Two of the guys that are just speedsters can really kind of be game changers on the offensive side of the ball in Dana Holgerson's offense. You got one of them that's 6'1", kind of plays bigger in his size, but is really good with the ball in his hands, can be a deep ball threat. So just another one of those guys that you want to get in space. Same with Isaiah Hunter. Just the type of guy that Holgerson wants this offense full of. And then a couple other guys. Of course, we got Jack McAllister, the punter out of the portal. Just an excellent season from him. Averaged over 40 yards per punt. I think there was 8 plus 50 yarders or 50 plus yarders. And I think he had like 12 inside the 20. So just a really high level punter from in a position in need there. So I really like the focus on special teams. That is one of my biggest things, is that they are making that a point and not just going after like, oh, we just need wide receivers. Like we're focusing on special teams specifically because we know that's been a big thorn in our side. So no really, names to look at on the running back side of the world. We have a couple of DB guys that are visiting outside linebacker. And then of course we had the commitment today. And just a really good run stop edge rusher type of guy. Wasn't it Jalen George, right? Was that?
Yeah. That guy from Eastern Carolina?
Tennessee. Eastern Tennessee. Yeah. I don't have my notes up, so I kind of lost him. But he just off the top of my head, for him, like he is a kind of Ty Robinson was a run stopping defensive end, as Jamari Butler was more of that edge rusher, get to the quarterback type of defensive end. He's about 6'3", 263, so he's going to be that run stopping, contain the edge type of guy. Kind of a depth piece looking at more so right now. But he does have the size to be, and the physicality to be able to transition over to the Big Ten. So that is a big part of that. But right now looking like a depth piece there. So, but a solid get in my opinion. At a position we do need some depth at. So, but just most progress in the wide receiver position, which is what we were targeting pretty heavily. And then, of course, we're up to 3 total commitments with the long snapper, Jack McAllister, and him so far.
Alrighty. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate that.
Sir.
Okay, get back to where I was. I hate it when I do that. I'm diddly-dallying somewhere else, and then I forget where I'm at. Anyway, folks, tonight, like I said, we're going to focus really in on the college football playoff, especially the first round of games. But before we dive into the games, we have a couple questions to ask, especially where seeding is concerned. And I know, Coach, this is kind of a passion of yours. Mm-hmm. Did the playoff committee seed these teams right, in your opinion?
Okay, so I think that is the interesting question. In terms of the parameters that the committee was given by the NCAA, I think the committee did a good job. My issue with this playoff and its seeding is more with the format itself, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
When it comes to, because I like the idea of some of these, conference champions automatically getting in. I really do believe in that. The problem with giving them the first 4 seeds of automatically getting that first round bye, it kind of creates a little bit of a false floor. So that's why I blame more the process that the NCAA and the commissioners gave to the committee, not necessarily the committee. I believe that the 12 teams that are in are the 12 teams that should be in. But here's kind of where we're at with this. Giving them the automatic buys has just created an issue now to where, like, you could make an argument. I'm not even necessarily saying it's true, but you can make an argument that Oregon would have been much better off losing the Big Ten championship, and that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem going forward they got to figure out. Because now, when you look at them, their reward for getting the 1 seed is arguably and probably the toughest road to get to the Final Four. That's a big problem. Now, yes, they get the first round bye out of that, but then you're going to be facing the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee, right? Like, that's a tough matchup where if they would have lost and got that 5 seed or the 6 seed like Penn State would have ended up, you'd be playing a lower level team like SMU or Clemson, and then you'd be playing either Arizona State or Boise State. That 5 or 6 is a much easier path to the Final Four. That's something that we got to get shored up. I have some ideas, but I kind of like to hear what's your guys' thoughts. Am I completely off base on this or not?
Go ahead. Somebody grab that and go if you want.
I don't think so at all. I agree with you. Penn State to me was one of the weaker teams in terms of when they had them in the top four. They were one of the teams that just they should have lost to USC. They really struggled at home in a whiteout game to Illinois. That final was I believe it was 17-7 or 21-7, but most people don't remember that Illinois had a goal line situation to take the lead before half, and the snap went over the quarterback's head, and then they ended up not getting any points out of that, or else that whole second half would have been different. So Penn State, I mean, honestly, they're one of the weaker of the weakest of the top four seeds without a doubt, or the top six seeds without a doubt. And it's just Oregon got punished for taking care of business, and it's horrible how it turned out.
Yeah,
for them.
that's my biggest issue with this whole thing is it's now created a scenario where being the 1 seed is not the best path, and now we're not rewarding the regular season. Obviously, the regular season and all that still matters, but I feel like you end up taking away some of that value when running the table, being undefeated, kind of gets you punished in some ways. Yes, you get the first round bye, but since the way we're seeding these teams, you're now going to end up in that second round having to face the 8th or 9th best team in the country, as opposed to if you were the 5 seed, yeah, technically Arizona State has that 4 seed, but they're not the 4th best team in the country, right?
It should be the 4. Honestly, it should be the 4 best teams in the country.
Exactly. That's 100% my thoughts on that as well. And that's kind of where I just feel like this again, I think the playoff committee got it right. I like SMU being in over Alabama. I really do. I think the committee, in terms of what they were given, actually did a good job. The problem is just what they were given, the format they're giving in terms of who gets the first round buys. I don't blame the committee for that. I blame the NCAA, and that's something we got to get fixed going forward.
Good point. I'm kind of I'm with you that the right 12 teams are in. I believe the committee absolutely got it right that the right 12 teams are in. But when you look at their rankings next, their final college football playoff rankings, to me, you should take the top 4 teams in the college football playoff final rankings, and those guys get the bye. Whether they won their conference or not, those guys get the bye. Yeah, you get to get there if you win your conference championship, but if you're Clemson and you've already lost 3 damn games, there's no reason you should have even a remote chance at a first round bye, which of course they didn't get.
But still, yeah.
To me, this was not equitable for the teams that finished at the top 4 slots in the college football playoff rankings.
Correct.
Scott, what do you think?
I think I do not envy their position of having to try and unscramble this mess that they created as a college football playoff. That, I mean, we're kind of in the middle of their experiment with it, really. It's one of those things where the more they try to change it to accommodate a problem, it's almost like, I don't know any other way to put it. I'm going to get a little nerdy here, but it's almost like the Greek myth of the Hydra, where you cut off one head and like 6 more spawn.
Yeah.
And so
that's a good way to put it.
You eliminated the inequity of having only 4 teams go into the playoff, but then you created an entirely different inequity that is almost worse by punishing Oregon for being the number 1 seed, like we've already described. I don't know what they can do to fix it. I have a few ideas, but once again, all those ideas, I haven't sat through and spent days going through the butterfly effect of making those decisions. And I just don't envy their position, because no matter what they do, they're going to screw something else up. And then there's going to be a whole nother systemic problem that they're going to have to sort out. And I think you guys are right. The most simple solution as of right now is to just change the seeding format. But inevitably, I think the college football playoffs is just going to have to expand, because they're going to need more parity. They're going to need more.
Can't keep it.
I know. I'll be real with you, Scott. Yeah. I think that is what they're going. I think they're going to expand it to 14 or 16, but I don't want them to. Yeah, I do not want them to do that. I'll just be real, just because I don't think a team as flawed as an Alabama or an Ole Miss, or who, honestly, okay, Clemson won their conference, but like I have a hard time arguing for them to be in. I know they won the ACC, so I can live with it. But like if we expand this thing to 14, now it's just we're devaluing the regular season a bit, in my opinion.
My thing. That's my biggest thing.
I'll be real. I think the way that they're going to try and solve this is going to 14 and only having 2 first-round buys. I don't want that solution. That is not, but I just think that's just the NCAA is going to end up doing that just because I don't think they handle things very well. I think in the history of the NCAA, I don't think this is a controversial take. They suck at doing things. So
yeah, there's kind of a history there. There's certainly a way of. They have an incredible tendency of living their lives with their heads firmly planted up their rectums. So
yeah,
right.
And if there's any team they'll change the rules for, it's going to be Alabama.
Sure,
right.
Yeah, and I guess my pushback on the devaluing of the regular season, I'd say that my current observation is that it's already basically non-existent now.
But it's going to happen even more so.
Yeah.
Yes,
Think of how little
but
these
then my immediate thought to that is the regular season in NCAA basketball devalued?
Yes,
because yes, it is, but that doesn't make the regular season completely invaluable, unvaluable. Like
takes the steam off each game. Like each game used to be like we gotta win this game each and every single game, and the further we get away from that, the less each game is going to mean.
I know, but it's I guess I'm just trying to wrap my head around the fact that it is already that way. From my observation, is that it didn't really matter that much, the games that Clemson lost. They still made it in. And if they somehow, I doubt it, but if they somehow pull off a Cinderella story from the Power 4 conferences and go all the way and win it, like, were they actually the best team in the country? But I don't know.
That's exactly his point, because like with a 14 game playoff, then the SMU game wouldn't have mattered at all what they did. Yeah, because they would have automatically been in. So like to his point, like, yeah, the problem is it's already happened, but the more we expand it, it inches more and more to not matter. Right. Like it's just,
So I do have an idea of I kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts. Someone put it in the chat, actually, one of the solutions that I've kind of heard going around is if they kept it at 12, like reseeding after the first round, like what the NFL does. So like if the 5 seed ends up winning, they would go play the number 4 seed as opposed to going to play the number 1 seed, kind of like how it is in the NFL, where like the number 1 seed plays the lowest remaining seed, or I guess the lowest ranked team, I guess is what I mean. Like, do you guys think that's I kind of like that idea. Just, I don't think it's a super hard thing. I don't know. I saw some people saying, oh, that'd be so hard to follow. It's like, we've been doing it for so long with the NFL. Like, is it really that hard I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts on it?
I love it. But I think if you complicate more things for the NCAA,
I know.
They're going to find their infinite wisdom.
Yeah, they're going to find a way to still try to math up the seeds to where they can give this team the easiest route. I don't know. But I do think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Why are we ready to move on to the games, guys, or do we have anything else we need to talk about on Seedings?
Sound better? Is my sound better?
No,
I was gonna recommend that StreamYard has had issues with audio programming, that if there's some sort of issue on your side of the browser, you have to exit out of the browser that StreamYard is on, reopen a browser, and then
I'm in a different browser already. I had camera issues in one, but it's still not better. It's still not better now.
The audio keeps clipping is what's happening. So I'm not sure if you've got in your audio settings on StreamYard, if there isn't something that's a little funky.
I actually was just messing with them, but let me, I might try to see if I can pull it back up on, but we can continue. If I pop out,
okay, no problem.
I'll be on Chrome. So
no problem.
Sounds good.
No problem. All right, let's move on to the games, boys. First up, of course, we've got Friday night. Friday night would be the, well, before we get to the games, actually, I've just got some little factoids about the teams in the first round. Features the number 1 This first round features the number 1 team in total defense, which is Ohio State. There are 3 teams ranked in the top 5 in total defense in this first round. 6 of the 8 teams are ranked in the top 10. And then 2 teams are ranked outside the top 25 in total defense, in SMU at 28 and Clemson at 66. Whew, that might be an ugly game down there in Austin. The average total defense rank, if you average out all 8 teams in the round 1, their average rank is 15th. Okay. 6 of the 8 teams are ranked in the top 25 in total offense. Tennessee, at the 8th seed, Tennessee is the only team ranked in the top 10 at being ranked 8th in total offense. Get you added back in here, Justin.
That better?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Sounds pretty good. Ohio at number 40, Notre Dame is the lowest ranked team in total offense, and Ohio State is the second lowest in total offense at 36th. Average total offensive rank amongst the 8 first-round teams is 22nd in the country. Nebraska finished this season 18th in total defense, but 94th in total offense. My hot take going into the discussion on the playoff is that if Holgorsen can field a top 35 offense in 2024 and Butler can just reproduce the defense we had this year, maybe stay in the top 20, fall to 20, that would be fine. The Huskers could be sitting on the bubble for a college football playoff berth. What do you guys think?
100% agree. You could look at just a few of these games and see how many of them would have completely turned with a average offense, not a mediocre offense that we have, but just even an average offense.
Give me Clemson's offense. Let's be up in the top 60. That'd be all right.
Yeah,
they were 66th and they got in. So
100%.
Anyway, Friday, December 20th, I am going to be at an ugly Christmas sweater party with friends of ours from our Bible study watching a movie. So I'm going to miss the game except for Bluetooth streaming in my hearing aids and YouTube TV on my phone. That's going to save me. So, but anyway, it's on ABC/ESPN. It's number 10, Indiana at number 7th seed Notre Dame. Indiana's total offensive rank was 25th. Their total defense was 2nd in the country. And Notre Dame, on the other hand, was 9th in the country in total defense and 40th in the country in total offense. The over-under is 51.5. Coach, we'll start out with you. How do you see this game going? And then give us your prediction at the end.
This game for me, out of the 4 first-round games, is the second most excited I am about any game. The first one being the last game we'll discuss. This, for me, is a very good strength versus strength matchup, no matter who has the ball. On one side, you have Indiana with the ball, who has a very efficient passing attack, but also an explosive passing attack, going against a very good Notre Dame secondary. And then on the other side, when Notre Dame has the ball, Notre Dame can run the ball pretty well, but Indiana, especially Indiana's linebackers, their run defense at times this year has seemed like just very, very stellar. I know that, Ohio State, obviously that wasn't a great game, but as a whole, I think Indiana's run defense has been very good. So this is a very good kind of strength versus strength matchup. I know some people kind of, have Notre Dame winning by a blowout. I do have Notre Dame winning, but I do think that this is just a matchup that is going to be closer than people think, just because Indiana, although I don't think they're going to have the big play ability that they've shown this year against Notre Dame's defense, but that Indiana passing attack has been very efficient this year. They really have, especially if they can get the RPO game going that they've done so well this year. So I've got Notre Dame 27 and Indiana 21. I've got a pretty close game.
Thanks, Coach. I like it. How about you, Justin? What do you see in this game and your final score?
Yeah, and to preface this, I had some fun with my playoff bracket. I've already shared my championship game with BA. So, but going into this one, Notre Dame, really good defensive line, like he said, solid secondary. One of the things that really does make Indiana's offense go, which a lot of people don't realize, is their run game. They opened up the run game very well against us, and that put our defense on their heels. So that success really helps keep the defense on their heels and getting the ball out of Rourke's hands quickly. But when a team stops their run game, Ohio State, for instance, we saw what happens when a defense can pin their ears back and get after Curtis Rourke and get him out of a rhythm. So I think that's going to be a key part of this is stopping Indiana's run game. Riley Leonard has been pretty versatile, more so even lately with his legs. So they've been able to kind of just create a little bit more on offense. And I just think overall, Indiana's in their first year of their build. Notre Dame's kind of had, some talent built up over a few years. So they have the depth. I just think they're kind of more balanced and have some more things to go to offensively when they need to. I expect Indiana to have moments, but I'm going to say Notre Dame's going to win this one 34-24.
You got a 10-point win. So
Yep.
You've got them covering the spread.
Yeah.
And you have Indiana covering then,
Yeah.
Coach. How about you, Scott? How do you see it?
So this is going to be, I agree with Coach. I think this is going to be one of the most exciting games, just because Notre Dame is a blue blood program. They've been there. They've done that. They haven't found their way to any sort of national championship success in quite some time. And then you've got Indiana. Indiana is definitely the dark horse of the year for the all Big Ten. I mean, who would have guessed that Indiana would have done what they did this year? And so if in my opinion, I think it's Notre Dame's game to lose. Matchup wise, Notre Dame has way more talent than Indiana. But Indiana, I think, has the mental and the wanted edge. They're going in there as some. There might not be Vegas underdogs by that much, only like a 7.5 point underdog, I believe. But I think culturally in college football, they just have so much that they can use as fuel for their fire. I actually have Indiana winning this game because it would be Notre Dame, man. Notre Dame is going to be the team to just absolutely fumble this. I don't think that Indiana wins because Indiana is the better football team. I just think that Notre Dame has the potential to overlook this, just subconsciously. It's not that they're going to be like, oh, it's just Indiana. It's just like SMU or Boise State or whatever. They're not a good team. I just think subconsciously it's like, it's Indiana, man. Like, who are they? What have they done this year when they actually played a team that was ranked in the top 25? They got their butts kicked. So I think that it's a close game. I think it's, like I said, I think Notre Dame does a lot to shoot themselves in their foot. 20-13 Indiana.
Can I change my score prediction? Sorry.
No, I've already written down an indelible
It's actually
ink.
getting worse. 31-17 Notre Dame.
Ooh,
31-17
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
Nice.
Scott, you must not have given a compelling case.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that.
You were
Well,
giving.
I will bring up stat. You're right. It is
wasn't. All
it is a matchup game because when you're looking at the rushing offense for Notre Dame, they've got, their top 10, but then their pass defense, their rushing offense is top 10. Their passing offense is like 101. They're 101st. And then Notre Dame's pass defense is 3rd in the nation. And then their rush defense is 51st. And then you compare that to Indiana, and some of these matchups do favor Indiana a little bit.
Sure.
But like Justin said, if they can't get the running game going, then they're not going to be able to get that pass game going at all. And I think if they can get the run game going, it could be against Notre Dame.
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat with you, the other two, the coach and Justin, and in that I give this game to Notre Dame by 3 points because I think the home field advantage is in general worth 3 points in just about any football game. It's Notre Dame. It's Indiana's first year being relevant, and I'm wondering if the moment's going to be a little too big, especially for a quarterback like Curtis Rourke, who last year was just playing for Ohio. This is his first year playing big boy football. He's been highly efficient, but Notre Dame's been pretty darn good at defending the pass. So if they can knock Rourke off of rhythm, I like Notre Dame in this game, and I think they will. I got them winning 31-28. All righty. next one. Game 2 would be the number 11th seeded SMU Mustangs at number 6 Penn State. For me, this is a highly intriguing game because Winters moved into Happy Valley in the last couple days. So SMU is going to have to put their big boy pants on. It's an 8.5 point spread. Penn State is favored. SMU is ranked 20th in the country in total offense, 28th in the country in total defense, whereas Penn State is 15th in the country in offense and 6th in the country in total defense. So the over-under is set at 53.5. Like I said, Penn State's favored by 8.5. We'll start again with you, Coach. What do you think?
I think that so SMU has a very explosive offense. So I'll tell you guys, as a coach and as an offensive coach, one of the stats that like I've always kept track of and a lot of coaching staffs do is explosive plays. And for most, metrics, that's plays that go over 20 yards. SMU has 72 of those this year so far. So like that's a pretty good stat. But the one thing that they don't really have going for them necessarily is how efficient they are, which in a snow game could cause them some problems, not being quite as efficient, slowly building plays down the field. And then obviously a road game at Penn State. I heard that they're doing another whiteout for this one. So a whiteout game in the snow might cause some issues for an offense that's not quite so efficient. I will say that if SMU has a shot in this game, it is going to be because they're going to come out and they're going to have to swing and throw punches early. That's the one thing. I think if you come out early and can punch Penn State in the mouth, I think they could have a shot. If they can get off some of these big explosive plays in the snow, I think they could have a game. Personally, I just don't see that happening for them. I have them losing 27-17.
So yeah, Penn State winning 27-17. All right,
yes, I do.
Go ahead, Justin.
All right. Sorry, I was pulling up these stats that I made for the pulled from the SMU game versus Clemson. So just for the people that watched that game, SMU versus Clemson, I was watching it very closely because, as y'all know, Scott Simons was somebody that I really wanted Nebraska to go after as a defensive coordinator. Now, when looking at that game, the first half, people were pointing to the score and saying how many points they scored. When looking at the scoreboard, that offense put them in terrible situations to start. They turned the ball over on the 28 and the 34, first two drives, giving them a short field to work with. So that defense, the SMU defense, the rest of the game, first quarter, they averaged 7.52 yards per play. Clemson did. The rest of the game, 3.4. Third down defense, first quarter, Clemson was 3 for 3. Rest of the game, 4 for 14. So they have a defense that can make adjustments. The offense, though, like BA said, they're explosive, but also they're inconsistent, right? And so that's going to give them a lot of issues. So I do think Penn State is not as good of a team as a lot of people think they are. But at the same time, they do have more balanced offense. Drew Allers, been showing he improved. I talked about this offseason. His mechanics have gotten better. He's improved over the course of the season. He only threw 2 interceptions last year. So a lot of people really are hard on Aller. But the biggest thing is Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen in that running game and what they were able to do there and kind of, especially against Oregon, what they were able to do offensively there. I just think that they are just built for the moment a little bit more. I think they just got, they rotated. I can't remember how many it was. I think I have in my note. Where are my notes at? My notes. Sorry. They rotated. How many guys through there? I can't find it, but I think it was like between 35 and 38 players to a top 10 defense, right? So they have depth. They have guys that can rotate through there and stay fresh. I do think SMU's defense is going to make it a little tough on them, but I just think Penn State has a little bit better athletes and they're going to be able to run the ball and kind of, impose their will a little bit more on SMU. Give me Penn State 28, SMU 17. Kind of coming up with the scores at the top of my head. So
you're fine. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to build off of kind of what you guys pointed out. You've got an explosive offense on SMU's side. They are also prone to making mistakes. And then you've got a really solid defense on SMU. But then you've got a pretty competent offense on Penn State's side. And Penn State's always had a pretty good defense. So it's a great matchup. Just playing in Happy Valley, could be snowy, could be cold. So like kind of alluded to, whiteout game, home field advantage really plays a role here. I just see it being one of those games where SMU looks like they can compete pretty well, but then they just shoot themselves in the foot. I just see them making explosive mistakes that Penn State capitalizes on. I could see this being a game where Penn State gets like a pick six or a strip, a strip sack or something that gets them inside the red zone and easy points that way. I'm going to go Penn State 23, SMU 10.
23-10, you got a 13-point win. All of us have got them covering at this point, and I'm going to say that Penn State covers the mark too. I think this is one of those games that could cause a lot of people watching the game that afternoon or whatever saying, what was SMU doing there? They didn't belong in this game. This could easily be something with the weather, with this really good defense that Penn State has. This could get out of hand if they don't have any. But defense travels, and albeit their defense is only ranked 28th for SMU, but they did pretty well against Clemson in that ACC championship game. So, but I do like Penn State to win this game, and I like them to win it by 20. So I've got it at 41-21.
And Big Red Junkies, who just popped in here, he saw some numbers and did some numbers on SMU's defense too to show just kind of how good they are. But yeah, I agree with y'all.
Alrighty, and that sets up a pretty cool setup. I mean, if Penn State wins that game, that'd be an interesting game with Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl.
I agree.
Very interesting. Can they stop Ashton Jeanty on like 39 days rest? And pissed off because he didn't win the Heisman when he should have. But anyway, let's move on to game number 4. This has been fun, guys. I don't know about you, but this is an absolute blast, and you guys are making us look great. So we're all about looking good.
It helped that I kind of I went on a show last week and already had notes taken on these games. So now I'm just gonna. Now I just got to come up with the scores because we didn't do score predictions on there.
And here's the game that, for me, guys, Clemson could just jump up and bite Texas in the rear end because they're thinking, oh, they backed into the ACC championship game, number 1. And then they barely got out of there with a win over SMU, who just earlier probably got their asses kicked by Penn State. You know what I mean? This could be one of those games that can be a little scary. Coming in, Clemson's got the 12th ranked total offense and 66th ranked total defense. I think Texas could carve them up with an 18th ranked offense and a 3rd ranked total defense. I'll just go ahead and give my prediction here real quick. I don't see a lot of points from Clemson in this game, but I see Ewers and company chucking the ball all over the place on this pretty leaky Clemson defense. So I got another one of those 20-point wins. I think they beat them 31-10. 31-10 Texas. How about you? We'll go with you first, Scott. Go the opposite way.
Yeah, I think the matchup is definitely lopsided for sure. I just don't really see a way that Clemson is able to pull this off unless they just absolutely, my theme for the night is just catching somebody with their pants down and not ready to play. I just don't see that happening here though. Sarkisian's got his guys locked in. I think they're going to want to make a statement out of this game. And so I see it being something like Texas 35, Clemson 20, and I'm being generous with that 20, and only because I think that they're going to get garbage time touchdown at the end. So,
spoiler alert, I do too.
Yeah.
Okay, Justin.
So, kind of like y'all have already alluded to, like, honestly, Clemson, I think, is outside of Arizona State, probably the weakest team of the bunch here. And I think we would all love to see them upset Texas, but I just don't see it. I think it's the worst matchup possible for Clemson. They struggle to stop the run. Texas does pretty good job at everything, honestly, defensively, stopping 3rd down conversions, keeping teams out of rhythm, TFLs, like they're very high in defensive efficiency. Clemson, can occasionally get after the quarterback, but I don't think it'll be enough to matter. Ewers, while a flawed quarterback, has a lot of weapons. And Kate Klubnik is equally as flawed, if not more flawed. And without, being able to stop the run, I just think they're toast. And so, yeah, this one, I don't see this one going well for Clemson at all. Score prediction. Let me see. Give me Texas 34, and let's go Clemson 20.
Nice.
All right, Coach.
So kind of like all you guys have, pretty much said, this is one I don't really think is very close. I think Texas's offense is just going to have an absolute field day throwing the ball all around the park. And because Clemson, like we've already discussed, has by far the worst defense in this playoff. So I think Texas offensively is just going to have a, field day with that. And the one thing about me as a football guy and as a coach, the one thing that just really gets me going, I love a defense that turns the ball over. Like I've written a whole paper about how big takeaways are and all that. Like that's one of the things that I nerd out about as a coach. I've given whole slideshow presentations to coaching staffs about how important it is to turn the football over. So I got to stick with my guns here. And I think Texas is going to get a few big turnovers. I think that kind of just, kind of is going to bump up their score a little bit. And I think Clemson gets a, garbage time touchdown. But I'm going Texas 45, Clemson 21.
Nice. An
Big
absolute
win.
down.
Yep.
It's, you know what, guys? I just have to point out something, the incredible pain that it causes me to have to write down the word
Right.
Texas 4 freaking times.
Especially in the
But
win column.
it's just a reality of where we are, It's just a reality. So, and last up, we've got the game that I think all 4 of us I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to quite a bit. Number 9, Tennessee is going to Columbus, where it seems some weather might be moving in as well. So to play number 8, Ohio State. This is where the total offense versus total defense should be interesting, because Tennessee rolls in there with the number 8 overall total offense, while Ohio State has number 1 total defense. Conversely, Tennessee's really good on defense, and Ohio State's been kind of sputtery on offense because they rank 36th in total offense, whereas Tennessee is number 4 in total defense. So this should be interesting. Coach, go ahead and lead us off. What do you think is going to happen between these 2 mammoths? Is this the upset special, you think?
I don't think so, but I think it has the potential to be. For me, this is the game I'm most hype about. I really am. I think this has the potential to be game of this first round. I honestly want to know which version of Ohio State and which version of Ryan Day we end up seeing. Do we see the team that balled out against Penn State, or do we see, I hate to use the word, but do we kind of see the chumps we saw against Michigan? Like Michigan's not that good of a football team, and that they got schooled. You know what I mean? I know that score was close, but I think Michigan outplayed them in pretty much about every way. And which version of Ryan Day, and I can throw Chip Kelly in this as well. But do we see the version of Ryan Day who's fearless, goes out there and takes a bunch of risk, or do we see kind of the scared shell of himself? Like we saw how he was at the end of that Michigan game of just shell shocked, right? Do we see that version, or do we see the version that we've seen a lot from him of, because I like the way generally he's kind of coached a lot of his teams of, take risks, be aggressive, all that. Which version do we see? I think we kind of see somewhat of a middle version. I think this defense is going to have a good day against a, really young quarterback coming into Columbus, big playoff game, big implications. It's going to be a night game. So I do think that Ohio State is going to end up winning. This is going to be my lowest scoring game of the of my playoff first round predictions. I do have Ohio State winning, but 21-17. And to answer Big Red Junkie's question in the chat, I think if Ryan Day gets embarrassed or Ohio State loses, I think it's a real possibility. If they go out and lose bad, then I do think it's a possibility, because as good as they've been, Ohio State fans are just as crazy, if not more crazy, than Nebraska fans when it comes to expectations and all that. So I do think it's an interesting thing. But like I said, I do have Ohio State winning this one. I think we kind of get somewhere in the middle of what I don't think we see the best version of Ohio State, but I don't think we see the worst version like we did against Michigan.
Alrighty. Thanks, Coach. How about you, Justin?
Yeah. So this one is going to be a very close game because I just think matchup wise, stylistically, Ohio State's top 10 in efficiency on offense and defense, with the defense being the stronger unit in terms of play. They don't give up explosive plays, mostly because they have really good play from their defensive line. Tennessee is great at stopping the run, but they also run the ball well. Iamaliava likes to take shots downfield. So he's like top 15 or top 10 in just average air yards or average depth of target and all that. But he can't hold the ball too long. He can take a lot of sacks. I think the difference in this game will be Ohio State's red zone defense and ability to stop the run. And I think they're just a little bit more battle tested in big moments again. And, playing where they're playing, I think that'll give them an advantage. Give me Ohio State 27-24.
Scott?
I'm making my decision solely based on what I want to see.
Fair enough.
If you were to ask me logically, I think 8 times out of 10, no, I'd say like 7.5 times out of 10. I think Ohio State ends up winning this game, just because they're at home. They're Ohio State, man. Tennessee, Josh Heupel's done a really good thing there. Tennessee is doing good things. They're going places. Maybe it's not their year this year. I don't know. But for the sole reason that I would love nothing more than to see Ryan Day get fired because of hasty administrative decisions, and they can't be happy at what's his record, like 66-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
I would just love
very Frank Solich of them.
Yes, I would love nothing more than to see that happen. And so I'm cheering for it. I want them to make that mistake. So I'm going to go just based off of that. I think I agree with what Justin said. And I think we can all agree this is going to be a close game. It's going to be a slobber knocker. They're going to throw a lot of punches. It's going to be one of those fun back and forth games, but I'm going to pick Tennessee on top, 27-24 Tennessee.
Oh my God, it's scoregami here because I have 27-24 Tennessee as well. I like the matchup of their offense being 8th in the country in total offense versus that number 1 total defense, and I like to see. I just have a feeling. I've got a weird feeling that if things turn ugly early and that crowd in Columbus turns against their team like they're wont to do when shit just doesn't seem to go right. Nebraska game, anybody? I mean, how bad would it be to get hit with a bunch of those frozen bottles this time that are thrown sideline, which could happen if Tennessee has any kind of momentum. And I think they're going to. I think they're going to go in there and they're going to pull the upset. I think defense always travels, and that defense is going to have something to say about stopping the run and forcing Will Howard, which was like the most ho-hum pickup in the transfer portal that OSU could have possibly done. I don't know if he's going to know what the solution is to get the ball down the field. So I like 27-24, and I think one of the touchdowns Ohio State scores is because their young quarterback makes a mistake and throws pick 6. Otherwise, the offense is only good for 17 against that defense.
The real question is, will Tennessee plant the flag at midfield?
God, that would be beautiful.
Or they fake it out. They're like, and then they pull it back, and then they're like, oh no, and then they start like having like a lawyer show up or something, and he's like writing stuff down. They have like a fake lawyer that they bring onto the field. Can we do this? No.
That would be funny. That would be hilarious. So what do you think, guys, next Monday night when we preview the Boston College game in the Pinstripe Bowl, do you guys want to also do some quick predictions for the second round? What do you think?
Let's do it.
Because we'll have results by then, and we can sit and figure out what we think is going to be.
I got it already cooked up to the natty.
Well, I know you do.
No, just because I already had a chance to.
Yeah. I got you, man. Well, this has been a lot of fun, and something even more fun for me. truly for me is what I'm going to talk about here real quick. And that is the podcast is going to be adding a couple of cast members, and you're seeing them right now on your screen. Scott and I had been talking for the last couple months about what we could do to inject a little bit of fun, a little bit more back and forth into the show. And we've always loved sitting and talking with Coach and sitting and talking with Justin. We thought, why not talk to both of them at the same time and see if they want to be in on the show? And both of them were gracious enough to join our cast. So from now on, Generation Red is not just Scott and I, and it still will be generationally representative. You know, you got the old fart, me, the relatively young fart, and Justin, and then you've got the two young guys.
Whippersnappers.
The whippersnappers.
The two young studs.
And Scott and Coach. So, you know, we've got quite the, we got age 24 up to 57. So it's a perfectly generational show. We really appreciate you guys saying yes to jumping on with us. So thank you so much. And I hope this really helps our audience really enjoy what we do going forward. So with that, I'll leave it to you guys. If you got any comments on that, or
I was just going to say real quick, thank you guys for joining us with this. And in the off season, at some point, whether it's preseason going into next year or postseason, it just kind of depends on how our schedules line up and whatnot. We plan on, don't know if you guys knew this, but we will have some sort of like introductory podcast where it's like, here's our hosts.
Yeah.
Here's what they do. Here's their interests, all the things, all the
kind of a
ho-hums.
biographical.
Because we've had you guys individually on here, and we've had you guys do your short introductions. But we'd like our fans to know like who you guys are and what you're about, and get to know you a little bit more. So
For sure.
that will be we'll cook that up sometime in the off season.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Appreciate that.
Big Red Junkie say awesome. We appreciate that. Justin says nice. I think they're referring to this.
Yeah. I think they are.
But who's heading to KC on 8/28? Ask BRJs.
I'll be there because
you live there.
The closest football stadium to me is literally Arrowhead Stadium. It would actually be a further drive if they played a game in Lawrence. So I will be at Arrowhead.
I'm hoping we can get down there. I'm not sure as far as ticket prices are concerned, whether we're going to be able to squeak that as far as going to the game, but I'd certainly love to get down there. Would love to hang with the coach, do a live show. And if Justin happens to drag his crazy Arizona butt up here for that, we could certainly get together and sit around a table and do a live show with maybe the Junkies and some of those other guys that'll probably be down there. That'd be an absolute hoot.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are coming to it.
I would love to try to make it up there. So if I do, I need to hit BA up though, because he'll tell me where to go and stay and all that stuff. But yeah, especially if the Big Red Junkies guy, shout out to them, man. They've been supporting heavily too, my channel and all that. So shout out to those guys as well. Awesome. So it would be awesome if we could all make it out there for sure.
Well, they did a live cast before the Iowa game in Omaha, and I drove over there to that, and that was an absolute hoot. Those guys are fun to sit down and talk football with, and they're just good dudes. So they covered my tab. So thanks, Giant Head Jed.
Awesome.
He covered my tab of fake Heinekens. So, anyway, how can folks follow you, Coach, out there on the socials?
If you just go to pretty much every social media platform, type in at the BA Coaches Show, you can find me. I'm literally on pretty much any social media you can think on at that handle. Got a pretty cool TikTok follow the other day. I'm barely on TikTok, but Emmett Johnson followed me. I was pretty hyped.
It's getting banned.
I was hyped. I was hyped about that. So if you go to any social media, go to at the BA Coaches Show. And one more quick thing I would like to plug, super quick, is if you go to my Twitter, or if you just go to the ESPN College Football Bracket Challenge thing, you can enter if you just type in the BA Coaches Show in the groups. Or I have links to it all over my Twitter right now. It's free to enter. I'm just trying to kind of get some good community going. If you win the thing, you get $50 directly from me. So it's a free chance to win $50. I'm just trying to have some fun. So if you want to go fill out a playoff bracket before Friday night, go do that and got a chance to go win some money.
All right. I think I will do that after the show. Sounds like fun. Justin, how about you?
Yep. You can follow me over at Nebraska Football at the Voice of College Football. Channel's been doing great over there. My Scott Simons video got me about 540 subscribers, which is crazy. It's the craziest video I've ever had.
Wow.
Up over 800 in the last 2 weeks. So everybody who's been supporting me over there, including y'all, I appreciate that so much. So if y'all want to go follow me over there, I'm trying to work up to 7K subscribers. So and then also I'm doing a giveaway over there. I'll just kind of put this on here. It's on my X. I just shared on my X as well. Y'all are entered already. Generation Red, Coach BA, y'all are entered into this, but it's On It Athlete. It goes to support the NIL. It's the only one that supports their name, image, and likeness, officially branded, and was runner-up in some competition 2024 in terms of the best product for NIL. So give away that $69 value, 84 cards in the box, a guaranteed autograph and every box as well. So steps to win that are on my X account. You can follow me there at _H-Town Husker, and then you'll be able to see all my posts and uploads over there too.
Very cool. Scott's still lurking on Twitter.
Yep, just a lurker over there.
Just a lurker. He's just a creeper.
Yep, just seeing what's going on in the world and the whatnots.
That's right. That's right. And of course, at Gen Red Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to follow our show on the socials. If you like your podcast in audio form, just find us in Generation Red on your favorite podcast app. The audio for this live stream will be available tomorrow morning. We appreciate y'all watching. We appreciate y'all participating in the live chat. It means a lot. It really does. The interaction is what makes it so much fun to do this live as opposed to pre-recorded. I love the interaction. And I love the fact that Coach BA and Justin are part of our team now. So I've got to change up the outro a little bit. So on behalf of Justin, Coach BA, Scott, and myself, together, all four of us now, we're Generation Red, and we're here to chronicle Nebraska's inevitable return to college football greatness, one podcast at a time. And yes, Scott, you can still do your Iowa's corn sucks thing, but you other two guys have got to come up with something to say at the end too. So go ahead, Scott.
Iowa's corn sucks more than Boston College.
All right.
I dig
That
it.
checks out.
I dig it.
All right. What do you think? You got a tagline you want to throw out there?
Oh boy.
We got to come up with a now.
Now on the fly.
Whatever
You
you
can
pick,
wait
you
till
have to
next
stick
week.
with for the
I'll
rest of the time.
I'll do the same one I do on my show. GBR and in rule we trust.
All right.
Well,
So,
mine on my channel is, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
see you in the next video. Yeah, we'll see you next Monday night at 7:30. Peace out, folks. Go Big Red. God bless. And good evening. Thanks for joining us.